it should come to a BRS minimum level. 3 naira is okay, because if you look at the volume of the transaction, a whole lot of people would prefer to use non-internet or no application services in the place of using their ATM or whatever. And also, even across this channel, we still have different issues that need to be raised to CBN. If you look at our ATM, if you use your ATM card in any ATM and it's got stopped, do you know what happens to you? The banks will tell you, if it's not their bank, they will tell you that you need to go back to your bank. When you get back to your bank will say you need to get another one. So why is it our fault for you not to bring out our ATM and give it to us?
So it looks like no one is actually protecting the consumers, because on all fronts, it's like the consumer is on the CBN, who's supposed to protect the consumers, is not doing so. So who's responsible for protecting
That's what we
us?
say every time at Save the Consumers, because we look at these regulatory bodies. They are serving those agents they're supposed to manage to the best advantage of consumers. We are not saying we are not paid, but don't give us what is beyond normalcy. You have to come back. We have other countries using this, Kenya and what have you. We know how they operate this. So I think our regulatory bodies, they need to do more, to be more of consumer oriented rather than, I don't know what's happened between them, because this issue even go beyond one regulatory bodies. It's CBN, NCC, and it involved the minister. So I think they should do more compared to what they bring out. This is unacceptable and not good at all for consumers in Nigeria, especially now that you are preaching financial inclusion of more Nigerians. Now, when we say financial inclusion, what does that mean? That means you are bringing more people to financial sector, and when you bring more people, you make more profit. So you're making more profit, and you're still making us to pay more on the charges. I think government needs to do something urgently.
Earlier today, Utibe were talking about, those Nigerians in the rural communities that will not have access to maybe smartphones where they have the option of downloading the bank apps to avoid this, and the internet, and to avoid this. What do they do? And well, just like you said, financial inclusion, they might be out of the financial net, and possibly also when Nigeria is talking about a cashless country and a cashless policy, how will that include these large number of Nigerians residing in the rural communities? I think we are even being discouraged to use those platforms, because when you use an ATM, there's a particular amount from it. Perhaps ATM are not close to these people. That is the meaning. So you give them the availability of such USSD, but now you are saying 7 naira rather per transaction. So if I'm to send, and as a Nigerian, I can decide to send 500 naira to someone, I can send 1,000 naira to someone. Exactly. And by the time I do this, you remove this amount. You have you have reduced the value of the money, and that's why we say it can be progressive in nature. If I send 1,000 naira, you remove 1 naira. If I send 10,000 naira, you remove a particular amount, and that helps. That yes, these people you are your targets that you want to involve in financial inclusion are being considered. But if you are saying it's a flat rate, that means no one you are considering. You are discouraging us from coming into financial dealings.
Financial net. Ilya, let's talk about the money involved here. Statista, which is a data website, provided some information on how much transaction is done using the USSD transfer payments platform. In 2020 alone, about 390 billion naira was transactions were done over the USSD platform. And they also say that between January and June 2020, the value of USSD transfers increased, going from 30 billion naira to 390.5 billion naira. This is huge money. Huge. And that's why we said the regulatory bodies are not just doing their work. That's the meaning, because you have to come to beyond what these people let you know, because they are in business and they want to make the profit. Beyond what they tell you have to go to the market, carry out your own research, and look at the balance which consumer will benefit. Now, because it's even so sad to the extent that because of 42 billion naira all remitted to telcos, you decided to go and increase the costs of USSD. It's not proper. We are thinking you should go between them and tell them that you pay your debts, because they are into business. Perhaps if we are using other platform, it costs us something, but not at that level. Then remember, the major
intention of USSD code is for financial inclusion.
That's right.
So now you are defeating that aim.
In essence.
Ab initio. That's just what.
What do you think is the end game here to this face-off? Because this face-off between the telcos and the banks, financial institutions, has been on for quite a while. Even apart from this USSD payment that the telcos are demanding for, there's also the aspect of the fintech, which is gradually getting a lot of ascendance and traction of control. The telecommunication companies and giants want to control finance as well, and the financial institutions at the same time want to hold forth to their forte and control their base. What do you think where do you think this is going to lead us to? Do you foresee a situation where banks, for instance, would use their financial power to make more acquisition in telcos? Take over the telecommunication industry.
The rivalry just starts because we are in digital age now, and you can hardly achieve any transaction without using the telcos. Now the telcos are saying that this is what we can do ourselves. We can even if you can see most of them are having their own fintech platform.
Yes.
I think this is where government need to come in and really separate the responsibility and their roles in financial sector.
Can they actually be separated? Or futuristically, do you see that it's not possible for them to be separated, but a merger, a symbiotic relationship between them is what would be the end game at the end of the day?
If merger comes in, the telcos will erode some of the responsibility of the banks, CBN banks rather. But the only thing banks can do, you need infrastructure of telcos to run banks.
Absolutely.
That is correct. But the thing is,
telcos know this.
And that's why they are holding
do without them.
And that's why they are saying you should pay 42 billion or we stop your services or transactions. So now
that's a blackmail.
That's a blackmail. So the first thing that government needs to come in and say, you telcos, these are your rules. Banks, these are your rules. And telcos, you must serve this to a particular extent, and they should pay, because in this case, banks are being scared, so to say. They are thinking if they pay this 42 billion naira, consequently they will keep on paying those monies. But in the long run, you are running a business, and you are their corporate customers.
Yes.
You need to pay for your services. You need to just go and negotiate. And when the negotiation is coming negatively to your part, meet the regulatory bodies, explain to them that this is what is happening. So when they say they were on the round table, we are waiting eagerly for at least